Before we begin this video, how are you doing? Are you feeling well? Have you had enough hydration throughout the day in order to keep yourself well while it's really warm? I hope so. So for this video, we're going to be doing the 2 Tower Chimps achievement with the Golden Justice and Pop and Ore. This map might be called Candy Falls, but there's going to be a lot of meteors that will be falling in the form of mortar shells. Will this work, or does this require a restart? Yeah, it requires a restart. We want only a sliver of exposure on this point over here and this point over here, so that there might be a bit too much exposure. You can't have enough exposure after all. You don't want too much of it, especially when you're a standoffish fella like this Desperado tower. The thing with Desperado is that we can get away with having as little exposure down here as possible because of how Desperado acts. With especially the quick draw and the standoff upgrades, if they're over here, they are far better off over here than, let's say, over here where Desperado's attack speed slows down. Not a good look. Put you on strong so that you only target the green balloons and delay the blue and red balloons from advancing towards the exit, and hopefully that does it. It will do. It will definitely will do. But round 10 is the tricky one. So what do we do here? Hopefully we can position you on last once the balloons start going towards the exit here. But that looks like it's happening a bit sooner than I thought it was going to be, honestly. So we'll switch you back to first occasionally in order to take down all of yours. Go back to last, go to first, put you all back to last. And I hope that is enough of a spread so that we can get these balloons where we want them and they're not going to make their way to the exit. Yeah, a bit of microing is required. There we go. That is the microing which we needed. Order of microing. You saw it on the screen there. I don't know how to really describe it. Trial and error sort of stuff. Works very well on spar pits. I think Desperado is honestly really good on spar pits. Being able to set up on that map is really good because there is a really nice little spot on the left where there are 2 little fossils on the ground where you can place Desperado down and you're able to get the early portion of the map where it's going to be able to go down, and then middle portion of the map when it goes it goes down, and then when it goes back up, then it goes back down towards the same area, and then there's the little loop around and then towards the exit. Hopefully that's sort of understandable, but we've got our mortar up and running once again at the helm of the mortar, and it's firing. We have Sherlock Holmes, detective by name, mortar by night. I mean, detective by day, mortar by night. Right, let's get eagle-eyed because I do not fancy restarting this entire run because of one, not purchasing a particular upgrade. Not too close in the future, but it definitely will be on the cards of to do. I want to do Golden Justice with balloon incineration, which I honestly think, just like with the biggest one, it will benefit a lot, mainly because of round 95 and the wall of fires that the balloon incineration creates. So if you slap on the wonderful take aim while it's a bounty hunter or the Golden Justice, it means that the wall of fires will stay on the track because it'll give the wall of fires purple popping means, and they will just stay on the track rather than dissipating. We've got heavy shells, one of the towers of all time, which I've done a fair few 2 mega pop scenarios with. Ninja Gaming wants to release either a new hero or a new paragon at some point this year, at the end of the year. I think they said in their patch notes that they want to present either a new hero or a new paragon. And for me, I'm like, Paragon people, paragons are brilliant. I want a new paragon. even though we have had the new tech shooter Paragon recently, and I want that Paragon to be the no wait, the most recent one was the Spike Factory Paragon, my bad. Yes, probably the buggiest of the Paragons of all times. I think alongside the Magus Perfectus upon its release on update 37. And if you try to build a Degree 99 Magus Perfectus when it was released, it would just crash the game. So yeah, that was fun when I did a Paragon video on that. And that was also the last time which we had the old Paragon system where we didn't have the slider. And it was also the old Paragon calculations where the maximum degree you could get is 76 rather than 91. But here we go, round 40, just in time we've got ourselves the ABAT on the field, short for Artillery Battery. Are you shy? Or guy? No, this is not Shy Guy Falls, this is Candy Falls. Get it right! Right, next up we're going to get ourselves the Bounty Hunter, and from there we will definitely do the good single target damage against the Mer class balloons, which we definitely need. We're also able to at times just one shot a fortified ceramic. That is beautiful. Just like these, with a little bit of help of some ABATs. Speaking of the ABAT, let us now take aim so that we can pop these pink balloons, because they're a little bit fast. I know they're all over the place, but we can afford to do so. This is no top path mortar or bottom path mortar. We can afford to spam the targeting out because it just fires that quickly. Take aim again, because camo regro purples are not very fun. We can use all of these loops throughout the track in order to put our cursor down for the mortar, and it will just lay waste to the balloons, as long as they're a ceramic or below, that is. Let's see, Moab, go down please. Mortar microwave, but one kind of microwave, but I don't mind at all. I quite like it actually, because I know if I put my cursor over there, a balloon is going to get popped, rather than ace microwave, where in one instance the plane flies to the left, and in another instance the plane decides to do a complete U-turn. As you may tell, I'm not a big fan of ace microwave. I think it is a myth that people make up as a coping mechanism to say that it is easy to ace micro. But then again, I'm just not that kind of player, so there we go. What do I know? What you gotta do is dedicate hundreds of hours to seeing how somebody else does ace micro, so in order for you to perfect ace micro, if you press tab at this time, if you press the reverse flight configuration at this time, you will be able to get your plane to go a certain way 100% of the time. What a nerd. Alright, even more camo balloons. We can hold them off because we do have the standoff and quick draw. The further that they are away, the quicker we fire. The fewer of them that are within our radius, the quicker it will fire. If it's within this range here of the small circle, that means that the Desperado is claustrophobic and requires their pistol to be wielded, rather than their long-ass rifle that does far more. I have a theory about the Golden Justice, or anything when you get Deadeye when it comes to its critical hits. There's only two different sequences when a critical hit can occur, and those sequences are like if it'll pop up the first time, or the fourth time, and the seventh time, etc. Not like every threes, but sort of like every certain number. Like it's going to pop off every single time when it gets to a certain number, and then if you fail that round, then it has a different set of sequences that it follows. Like let's say 2, 3, 5, 11 for example. Just as an example, I have a feeling about this game that the occurrences in which a critical hit can happen, it's not as random as the descriptions say that they are. So when you look at Bullseye, shots get a chance to crit. I wholeheartedly believe that the chance to crit is not RNG, but it is predetermined based upon just summoning to the game, and this is the dice rolls in which you are predetermined to set out. Because I have been trying to get a particular 2TC to work, and it's not been done yet. It's essentially the downgraded version of the biggest one. And every single time I get to the DDTs, it's always the third shot that the Golden Justice produces, the fifth shot, and I think the 9th and the 13th, where every single time I have tried to do a rerun of round 95, by the way, I've not gone past that round yet, and I find round 98 to be troublesome as well. Each and every single time, the number of shots that it has performed, it has always landed a critical hit upon the amount of shots that it does, which is a random number. And every time you retry that round, it always has the same dices rolled. So therefore, you're always going to get the third shot as a crit, or the fifth shot, or the 9th shot, or the 12th shot, etc. It's not RNG, it's pre-coded, depending on the behavior of the tower, depending on just whatever's going on. And I think it's more concrete in that theory when you have Nomad rather than Standoff, where the variables are constantly changing depending on like how far away they are and how few balloons are within your radius. Whereas with Nomad, it gets to a certain point and you always got that amount within your radius, and therefore it's just going to stick to that same number, therefore you're always going to get the same rolls. But with Standoff and Quick Draw, I think there is a little bit less RNG because of, well, where your mortar is at the time, like where's your mortar aiming, etc. Hope you get what I mean, but I think the descriptions and the coding of the game is never really RNG, because there's always some form of set in stone formulation in the game when it comes to what the game tells you as a RNG aspect, when it isn't. It is predetermined. Now on your next try of a particular run, then the dice rolled will most likely be changed. And I heard that there's a mod for the game called Time Machine where you can just keep reverting back to a round in which you have previously done. So let's say if you have a scuffed up round 95 and you want to redo round 94, then you can just click round 94 when you have entered the death screen. Except for yellow balloons, I heard there's a bug where the mod doesn't work when you die to a yellow balloon. By the way, that's just made up. Anyway, story time with flare balloons. But that's what I think about when you get Bullseye with the Desperado, is that it's crits. Crits are not RNG, but they are predetermined, and every single run will have a different set of predetermined rolls when it comes to the amount of critical hits in which you get. I think it's almost impossible where every single shot that you perform is going to be a critical hit. But for 2TC with the big one, which I hope to do one day, I hope that the dices roll where I want them to be, and that is every single time that it takes a shot. And I heard that the top path Desperado is bugged at the moment, or there's a bit of coding that's missing from the top path Desperado, which was in the game before release, but then it was taken out of the game for whatever known reasons. Maybe Ninja Kiwi definitely wants to see the uniqueness of the tower, so therefore, in order to do that, we're going to take away some aspect about it. Also, we've got Pop and Ore now, which is definitely the tier 5 in which you should get first, because even if we do struggle with camos, we do have the Pop and Ore's ability where regardless if the tower can, regardless if the tower can see camo or not, it will be able to pop camo balloons anyways. Also, it fires like a permanent artillery battery, so imagine the artillery battery's rate of fire, plus with some enhanced performances, minus the bonus bad damage that it used to have. Another thing that's just taken away from a tower unnecessarily. I can't tell if a camo regrow white balloon is going through, but by the lack of directional movement from our bounty hunter, it was able to assassinate all of the camo balloons. But of course, with the rainbow balloons being instantly evaporated from the Pop and Ore's many mortars. Mortar shells falls. I believe now the only round in which we need to worry about is 95 when we do our ability activations. But unlike with the biggest one where we need to constantly maneuver around the cursor of our mortar, well, yes, we are doing that, but we do have a safety net when it comes to where the DDTs are at all times, because we have the pop and all ability to stun them in place, giving us a bit more time in order to hold them off. And then we can give the take aim ability, put it on you, and then you'll be able to damage the remaining DDTs. But then of course we've also got the marks to pop ability, which when you put it on strong, it just targets the DDTs, which is what we really want. Take out as many DDTs as possible, and hopefully some of those shots from mark to pop are crits, so that then hopefully we can then pop more DDTs with the ability. Unless of course the ability is based upon how many balloons it shoots with a certain amount of damage, rather than saying this is the number of bullets in which I have and each bullet has a set number of damage. I don't know, it's still early days for the Desperado, even though there are people who think that I already know absolutely everything about the tower. Predetermined expectations. 78, a whole bunch of ceramics, and then after that a whole bunch of camo ceramics. In a lot of other 2TC scenarios with a pop and ore, the only way to really deal with round 78 is to use the pop and ore ability. But then you don't have it for round 79, but then again, you don't need it for round 79. When you've just got the default attack, in which this thing just payloads out. But use it now, and the camo ceramics just went by. Alright, that is a fair few numbers in which this thing does kind of struggle when it comes to this whole scenario. It's a whole bunch of numbers. It's a numbers game. We are obviously creating our finances through the deaths of balloons. And sometimes, well, all the time actually, their values do go less depending on, like, how many we pop. ZOMG inbound, or is it ZOMG inbound? It's one of those either or scenarios. There's no truly right and wrong answer. I think the truly wrong answer is that, well, you're bickering towards somebody about a pronunciation of a word, or a letter in this case, that ultimately at the end of the day does not affect your well-being. I'm sorry to say, but if there is something that I do that physically hurts you, that is a you problem, not a my problem. I'm talking about in-game, that is. Real life is entirely different from a game about a monkey popping a balloon with a dart, or thousands of rounds of mortars. Golden justice is now mine. Apparently Nomad should be working as it has been intended to, where the attack speed multiplier should now actually add up properly. Although there is a bug when it comes to the application of take aim, where if you cross path your Deadeye or your Bounty Hunter or your Golden Justice, rather than decreasing spread, it increases spread, which is still within the game, even though it's now 49.1, where fixes have been made, but not all of them have been fixed. And also the way in which this thing does like crit multipliers, that's bugged, because whenever you get a cross path with that, it decreases from ×8 multiplier to only ×3. That's a bit of a difference. Right, around 87, we do not need to do anything other than give these balloons a huge amount of payload. Yeah, 87, just like every other round so far, is annihilated. The only trouble we have had so far is the early game and the positioning of our Desperado tower in order to actually start the scenario. We'll put you over here. You are excellent against ceramics. Don't get me wrong, you do one-shot ceramics. As long as it's with the rifle, and as long as they're all in a straight line. I'm thinking about that straight line from Cubism, where you initially start the map before it starts turning off for the first time. That is an excellent spot. The only downside is that once the Moa class balloons become in range of your Golden Justice, it then stops firing its rifle, and then just reverts to the pistol, which I don't understand why it still has that when you can just use your rifle. Right, round 90, we're just going to use pop and ore and then take aim as well, and that is all we need to do. We do bonus damage while they're stunned anyway, so that's what pop and ore serves for us. That lovely juicy bit of bonus damage. I like bonus damage. You like bonus damage. I don't know what to say if we don't like bonus damage. Hopefully we'll be able to hold them off here in this position over here, so that that's what I was trying to hold them off for, not having these menaces escape. But alas, that is what you call a thing that happens. That is a thing that exists. It's also called chasing, where you've lost control of a scenario and you're literally trying to gun down the balloons so that they do not escape. But sometimes you have a particular way of doing things, and if that line has been folded, then it's not good for you and your chances. Lovely. That is the DDTs taken care of by just using Excuse me, who said you could exist? You know what, I'm going to hold these off and let Pop and Ore come back as soon as possible. Well, I guess you're just too good against ceramics. That's good. Except your dinky pistol. You can't even take care of all of the ceramics inside of a DDT. You insta-kill 3 of them, but yet you just leave a 4th one partially damaged. It's almost like you've run out of rounds. Right, let's hold them off over here. Hopefully we don't need to do too much steering here, but we need to steer. Hopefully the... yeah, I hope you can take care of a single blue balloon, otherwise I will ask for my money back. Okay, round 95 here. We will definitely need to use the take aim ability, but not until like the very last moment or so, before they escape the map. So here we go, we're going to use it now, but there's a bit of a delay obviously because of the fact that, well, the mortars affected by take aim have to actually land on the ground. So if they're not land on the ground by that point, then obviously they will not be affected by the camo detection and all that. Okay, DDTs, this is not looking good because we've still got all these purples to try and contest against. Can we do it though? That is a good question. I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to use take aim. Use that ability. Kind of good so far, but not really. Perhaps I should have waited a bit longer. All those DTs are paired with one another, and yeah, this is what I feared. Just a loose ceramic getting away because your dinky little pistol can't take care of a single camo regrowth ceramic. But that's much better. We don't have it sporadic and all over the place. Right, when do we use our abilities though? That is a very good question. Just please pop them all. Please, whatever you do, pop them all, please. Put you on strong and then Hail Mary to them. Very good. Okay, the remaining DTs though, that is a different question. We are about to come off our ability, but we managed to take care of the rest of them thanks to a lucky shot from the Golden Justice, and we have secured round 95. Without a question or shadow of doubt, they cannot escape this loop of... but they managed to do so for some other reason, but we're there, round 96. That was one of the smoothest round 95 scenarios I've had in a long time. Oh my goodness sakes, really? Right, it's time to use the mortar's ability again, and hopefully this delivers results and etc, etc. Gosh, I hate round 96 sometimes. There's a lot of fast balloons. Round 97, 2 fortified UMGs, the second toughest of opponents in a game of chimps. The toughest, you know what that is, round 100, bad. Immune to most sort of things aside means of doing more damage against them, like the Super Brittle or the Cripple Moab or the Glue Storm, enabling a tower to do more damage, or one of the essences from I think it's Blastopopolis, where you're able to do 4 damage versus all forms of targets if you're at a certain stage. Okay, round 98 here. What do? We're going to keep hold of the take aim ability because I want to use that against the fortified DTs around 99. Because it's going to be quite important to try and insta-kill as many of them as possible. Because of the fact that, well, they're more than twice as tough as the DTs around 95, because A, they're fortified, and B, you have 4 more rounds of health progression Oh my goodness sakes, I took my eyes off there for a second and we lost to a single blue balloon. That was my fault, honestly. Pressing fast forward and then doing all of that. Let's wait a little bit for the pop and all ability to affect more balloons. Idealistically, I want all of the fortified targets to be squashed first before anything else. Those last few at back there, I don't mind. The sniper, sorry, the rifle is able to make it all the way over there. I keep saying sniper because you have the range of a sniper. You and your, what feels like an infinite pierce rifle. I bet Ninja Key will change it so that the supposedly infinite pierce rifle will have a set amount of pierce. Kind of like a Ray of Doom. Oh my goodness sakes. I pressed fast forward accidentally one time and it does that. Okay, maybe round 95 isn't the only difficult round in which we need to keep an eye on. Goes to show that the little targets are just as important as the big targets. The little ones tend to be much faster than the big ones. And this of course is a goddamn DT and then it just, it's like a bee. It's not supposed to fly with its body size, but yet it somehow does it anyways because, well, F you logic. Put you at the back there. Oh, I think that's good. I think that's good. I think that was the last difficult section of this, unless this proves to be otherwise. I'd rather if those BFBs were not popped at the back there, but beggars cannot be choosers, and we have this in the bag. Excellent. Okay, round 99. We don't want to use... I don't think we can actually... But we can actually use it. I was thinking there's not any cost of using it though, so take aim, use that, and then hopefully we can just shock the rest of these DTs into submission while they are in the range of... I was about to say, could you please pop the DT? Oh dearie me, you and your cities game. You are very silly. Pop those? Yes, hold them off for as long as possible. Okay, round 100. Here we are. We can use the mark to pop ability for a little bit of damage, even though it is only a little bit. And sometimes that has a chance to crit as well, which is nice. But of course, it's down to whatever way the dices roll. Yeah, this is a bad killer. And I'm saying that as in like a big airship of doom killer, not as in like it's bad at killing, because it really is brilliant. I think it's honestly the best primary tower when it comes to bad damage. Like, I think aside from the Moab Eliminator's ability, I think it just doesn't have the stupid power, but also the pierce in which the Golden Justice has. And I'm not having anyone say that otherwise. And there we go, everybody. That is the... Oh my god, my calculations are botched. Look at that! 0 tower chimps! Don't worry, the version of the index has the full statistics. I don't even know why this happens at times. Sometimes it happens when you retry a round, and therefore it just is like, well, I've completely forgotten what towers you've placed down past a certain point. No surprise there that the Golden Justice, well, it didn't perform like the pop and ore did when it comes to the total number of pops, but of course the pop and ore could not do what the Golden Justice did, and that is make light work of the BAD and also the various DDTs throughout rounds. But we can give you the wonderful take aim and just use your pop and ore ability, and DTs are made of light work. It just requires a little bit of fettling and microing to make it happen. But there we go, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video down in the comment sections below. With this one, I failed to get that one. I just named it and I couldn't rename it. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody. I've got Bears by them and the BADS of the Darting Gunners. So let me know what you thought of this video down in the comment sections below, everybody. And still no Desperado here. Yeah, I think Desperado just doesn't appear here. We need to wait for another collection event before Desperado can appear, because I've not had it up at all. Thank you all so much for watching, everybody, and take care of yourselves.